Hi everyone, I'm Mark Thompson with the Royal Report, the weekly highlight show for the Reading Royals, the ECHL affiliate of the Toronto Maple Leafs and Toronto Marlies, as well as the Boston Bruins. Well, they say that idle hands are the devil's workshop, and if that's the case, then the devil better not have expected much production out of the Royals this past week, as we had about zero idle time on our hands. 4 games in 5 days this week. The dreaded ECHL 4-5. And that was coming off a 3-3 last weekend, where we were lulled to sleep by the rolling rumbles of a rather rigid floor on the Iron Lung, and ultimately the suffocating defense of the South Carolina Stingrays. And on Wednesday night, the bus travel continued, and unfortunately, so did our slumber at Sun National Bank Arena in Trenton, New Jersey, where I know there aren't any more Devils, at least not on the ice, and there weren't any idle hands either, at least not belonging to the Titans, who came out and rolled the Royals, starting with a power play goal by Ryan Hayes 13:07 in. And then, before we could get out of the first with minimal damage, back-to-back breakaways, the first by the ultimate Royal killer Randy Rowe, and the second by Dustin Cameron, put the Royals in a rather familiar territory, trying to climb out of a deep, dark cave, which only got deeper and darker 12:21 into the second period on a goal by Trenton's Blair Yaworski. In the third, Olivier Labelle pounded a pair home, including a power play goal that broke up the shutout 4:45 in, but sandwiched between those two by Labelle was another one by Randy Rowe, who just can't seem to resist the temptation to stick the pitchfork in the Royals. So after starting the season with 4 straight victories on the road and 5 without a regulation loss, the Royals found themselves spinning after back-to-back 5-2 losses in Charleston, South Carolina and Trenton, New Jersey, in which the team gave up the first 4 goals in both of those games. So as we headed to First Arena in Elmira, New York on Friday night for the first time this season to kick off a 3-game set against the dreaded Jackals, the Royals were looking to get off to a better start. And they did, thanks to the Jackals defenseman Mike Ratchuk, who delivered a perfectly baked and buttered apple turnover to Matt Shepke, who gladly accepted and chomped down hard with a bitter bullet that beat Elmira goaltender Timo Pielmeyer 2:08 into the game to stake the Royals to something they hadn't had in a couple of games, a lead. But that wouldn't last. The Jackals quickly counterpunched with 3 in a row over a span of less than 10 minutes in the first period, starting with a backdoor power play slam by Mike Raja, followed by a 4-on-4 weak side finish from Dustin Gaisley, and capped by yet another power play goal from Artem Demkov. But the Royals wouldn't wither under the intense spotlight and rather clever trash talk, by the way, of the largest crowd in Elmira Jackal history. Instead, by the end of the first, Reading drew within 1 when Ray Macias sprang Chad Paintshow for a break, and although Paintshow's bid was rejected by Pielmeyer, Casey Haynes crashed and burned and scored to make it a 1-goal game before the end of 1. But 7:50 into the second, even Albert Pujols was envious of Elmira's power play when they went 3 for 3 on a Mario LaRocque slapper from deep on the left point to regain the 2-goal advantage. But then I guess the Royals figured out that what was good for the goose, well, it was good for the gander. And I'm not even really sure what a gander is anyway, but anyway, what was good on this play was the passing of the Royals power play unit as Ryan Crothers fired a cross-ice feed to Marvin Degon, who deftly tapped past to Yannick Riendo at the goal line, who in turn went cross-crease to Labelle for the jam, 14:55 into the second. Reading then tied things 3:53 into the third when Yannick Riendo put a little of his magic dust on a hard slap shot from wide in the left wall, and when it disappeared into the net, the game was tied at 4. 30 seconds after that, the Royals completed the comeback when Chad Paintshow snuck up behind former Royal Joey Ryan, pickpocketed the puck, and fed off to Ryan Crothers, who slipped it to Labelle for his 4th goal in 2 games and what proved to be his 2nd game winner of the season, as the Royals and goaltender Joe Palmer held off the Jackals down the stretch to rack up the team's 5th come-from-behind win of the year and take first place in the Atlantic Division for the first time, well, since the last time we were in Elmira on March 20th of last season. You might think after 5 games in 13 days since the Royals had played at home, the team would be anxiously excited to return to the friendly confines of the Sovereign Center on Saturday night, where we'd meet our dreaded Atlantic Division rival, the Elmira Jackals, for the second time in a 3-game series. You might think that, but then again you might not, because although home might be where the heart is, it hasn't been where the goals is, or are, or were, or was, or would be. Where's that 7th grade English teacher when you need her anyway? Anyway, we hadn't been scoring at home. Only 6 total goals in the first 4 games at the Sovereign Center, including a shutout against by the Gwinnett Gladiators in our last game in Reading. So when Olivier Labelle stretched his scoring spree to 3 straight games with a power play goal 5:20 into Saturday night's contest against the Jackals, it felt like the scoring curse had been lifted and all was right with the world. Not so fast, my friend, because just that quickly the genie was back in the bottle and the puck wasn't in the back of the net. Despite several grade A scoring chances, particularly in the early stages of the second period when the Royals just couldn't shake the sticky Jackals. And then they stuck one in, kind of a fluky, bouncing puck that snuck in 9:43 into the second period, and suddenly it was a 1-1 tie. But just as suddenly, the Royals retook the lead as 40 seconds later, Matt Shepke walked off the left half wall right through the parted Red Sea, or at least down the slot, and ripped the rocket to make it 2-1 Reading. But just as suddenly, or actually a second quicker, 39 seconds to be exact, Evan Barlow punched back a juicy rebound to retie the game at 2. And from that point forward, this one really did have the look and the feel of a tight, intense playoff chess match. And fortunately for Reading, it wasn't. A playoff game, I mean, because after a neutral zone turnover late in the third, Elmira's Maxime Grachev finished on the rebound of a Dustin Gaisley shot to allow the Jackals to turn the comeback tables on the Royals with what proved to be, after an empty netter by Riley Armstrong, a 4-2 win for the Jackals. Alright, so at this point of the season, we've only not been able to do 2 things at the Sovereign Center: score and win. And oh yeah, play a decent game on Sunday. Other than that, we've been just fine. So as we face the prospect of the rubber game in a 3-game set against the Elmira Jackals on Sunday afternoon, you figured you might as well go ahead and kill 2 or maybe even 3 birds with 1 stone, or better yet, 1 puck. Let's start with the scoring part. Coming into Sunday's game, the Royals had only scored 8 total goals in the 5 home games played. Heck, we almost matched that output in the first period and a half on Sunday, starting 14:39 into the first, when Yannick Riendo would register the first of what would prove to be 4 points on this afternoon, as Rob Quitt caught the Jackals in a bad change with a long pass that sprang Riendo, who pulled the Pat Richards Top Gun move, letting the Elmira defender slide right out of the picture and putting it where Mama leaves the peanut butter jar. Or whatever that guy says. I never did understand why Mama had to put the peanut butter jar on the top shelf anyway. Was there that much demand for the peanut butter? Regardless, the Royals led 1-0 at that point. 53 seconds after that, veteran Rob Shear showed us all how to bear down on a scoring chance when he flat out beat one through Elmira goaltender Brian Stewart with a slap shot from about 5 feet away to make it 2-0. Early in the second, the Royals capitalized on their first power play chance of the night on a tic-tac-toe passing play that went Riendo, Crothers, Labelle, and promptly catapulted Olivier Labelle into the Royals' record book as the team's all-time leading scorer with 54 total goals over the last 2+ seasons. 6:01 into the second, the Royals, who were decked out in the camouflage unis, answered their marching orders again on this military recognition night when they went right, left, right. Again this time, Labelle, Crothers to Riendo to make it 4-0. And then it was Crothers' turn to get into the act with a 5-on-3 power play goal when he outbattled 17-year NHL veteran Craig Rivet for a loose puck on the left pipe after Rob Quitt shot, got a rebound, and made a pass to make it 5-0. Now, to Elmira's credit, they didn't quit. They got a power play goal at 15:52 of the second to break up Joe Palmer's bid at the shutout. And Kyle Reeds bagged his first pro goal 4:30 into the third to quicken the pulse of the Royals faithful. But a shorthanded bullet from Dennis McCauley off the rush and some spectacular stretch goaltending from Joe Palmer took care of our other problem at the Sovereign Center, the winning part, as the Royals snapped a 4-game home losing streak and jumped back into first place in the Atlantic Division, and for a change, had some Sunday evening smiles. All right, let's get back on the bus. Here we go to US Bank Arena. Lots of great memories there in Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll be there on Friday night. And then on to beautiful Toledo, Ohio on Saturday. Maybe we'll do some walleye fishing. We'll see if the Maumee River is frozen over yet or not on that one. Let's hope the Royals scoring stays nice and warm. We'll see. Until then, this has been Mark Thompson with the Royal Report.